Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and Indian Express. So the most important news and editorial will be discussed in this session. So let's get started with the topic first. Today is 14th of September. The first topic is India-US to tie up on the green energy. Second, booster shots not required now. This is a study, we'll see that. Third, North Korea test-fired long-range cruise missiles. Second last, World Bank updated groundswell report. And the last is COVID-19, kidney injury and need for vaccine shots, right? So how COVID infect your kidney, what are the consequences it have to your immune system? We understand that also. So this is an editorial from Hindu. Apart from all this, at the end of this video, there would be some MCQ based questions, और ये जो questions होंगे ये current affair based होंगे, that will help you in the upcoming prelims examination. And those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, do not forget to give a thumbs up. So let's get started with the session with the first news, that is India-US to tie upon a green energy. This is something which is important for your general studies paper 2. Effects and policies of developed and developing countries in India interest. Also, it can be important for your general studies paper 3. GS के जो paper 3 है, environment, pollution, degradations and EIA. There also it can be important. So let's understand the detail of this news. So recently, the United States Special Presidential Envoy for Climate Change, basically is Mr. John Kerry, has been recently appointed as a United States Special Presidential Envoy, right? So he was there on a visit to India and he attended a meeting where he said, in a meeting he said that United States will assist India in attracting finance and technology to achieve the target of 450 gigawatt. How much? This is 450 gigawatt. This is something which is important. 450 gigawatts of renewable energy जो टारगेट है इंडिया की 2030 तक अचीव करने की, उसमें यूनाइटेड स्टेट हर कोशिश करेगा. They would be also providing attracting finances, boosting technology, whatever sort of requirement would be there for India, US would be assisting. And he also said that US look forward to partnering with India in bringing finance, technology and other element needed to achieve the target. So this is a commitment which is coming from the United States at the time when India want to achieve a target of 450 gigawatts in the renewable energy. So here you can see a graph that will help you understand about the installation strength. अगर इंडिया के सोलर पावर इंस्टॉलेशंस की बात करें, so installation has reached to 2500 megawatts, right, making a milestone in its by 2020 target. The green color is solar and the orange color denotes the wind energy. So you can see the installed capacity as on March 2018. So this is the data. If you compare it by September 19, this is 2500 megawatts and here 34393 megawatts. Now the target is again for 2022 is 1000. This is 10,000 and this here is 60,000. So this is what the India target has been, and India is potentially achieving that targets. Climate action and finance mobilization dialogue. This was a dialogue which was held, and Mr. John Kerry, the special envoy from the United States, have attended this dialogue. So the special envoy, the presidential envoy of the climate, he speak in the public and he said that the United States would serve as a powerful avenues for the India-US collaboration and would be based on 3 pillars. तो उन्होंने कुछ 3 important pillars की बात की है, how the target would be achieved both between India and United States. So we'll see what are the 3 important targets. First, he said about the climate action pillar. What is this? Which would have a joint proposal. इसमें joint proposal रखी जाएगी which have an emission that could be reduced in the next decade. So first, call for the climate action plan, which aims to reduce the emissions by a decade, and that potentially would contribute to achieve all other targets of the Paris climate change also, right? Because India has its own commitment under the Paris climate change and the national determined contributions also. The second pillar that was set was being setting up a roadmap to achieve the 450 gigawatts किस जगह पे in transportations, buildings and industries. And the final pillar is a finance pillar. This involve collaborations जहाँ पे renewable energy को लाने के लिए, जितनी भी clean energy को लाने के लिए जो चीज़ों की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, finances की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, there in the United States would be assisting India. And even 6 bank in the US has been already committed that they would be investing around 4.5 trillion in the next decade for the clean energy. This is what Mr. Kerry has to said, and he's promising are really helpful for India, because at this time we need a strong finance and a partner like United States which can sail us through this journey, and definitely this would be a great milestone that India would be achieving by 2030, right? So this is a future prospects, and you need to know all these points. If you're writing in mains paper, you definitely need to incorporate these points. Now, installed power capacity की बात करें इंडिया में, so India installed power capacity is projected around 476 gigawatt by 2021-2022, and it is expected to at least by 870 by 2030, right? So this is the total capacity, the future targets that India has set. Now, Indian government target for 175 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity by 2022, right? So this is the short-term target for coming years. इसमें अगर बात करें bifurcations की गई है, सबसे ज़्यादा कहाँ पे 82 gigawatts of the renewable energy capacity would be installed in September 2019. फिर उसके बाद आगे की अगर बात करें, so 30, then we can go for 22, that is 39 gigawatts at various stages of bidding. Then we have 18 gigawatts, 31 gigawatts of renewable energy capacity, various installations, right? And the last is 13%, that 23 gigawatts of renewable energy, the capacity load at a bid. So bidding, some achievements is ongoing process, but definitely by the end of 2022, we can say that the country would be achieving a target of 175 gigawatts. Now, booster shots not required now. This is a report which was published in the Lancet journal. Lancet is one of the reputed journal in the world. This can be important part in your syllabus, General Studies paper 2, issues related to development and management of education, basically health, right? So an expert view that is coming from the medical journal Lancet, they have recommended कि जो boosters doses हैं for the COVID-19 would be not appropriate at this point of time, because the general population है उसके लिए इस stage पे pandemic की कोई भी booster shots देना सही नहीं होगी, right? So this is a caution that has been raised from the journal like Lancets. Now, what is booster shots? If you talk about, see, you must be aware of the news. Basically, her news में booster shots, and we have also discussed this news previously. तो बूस्टर शॉट्स की मतलब होती है दिस इज फॉर स्ट्रेंथनिंग वन इम्यून सिस्टम अगेन अ पर्टिकुलर पैथोजन. तो यहाँ पे पर्टिकुलर पैथोजन क्या है, दैट इज SARS-CoV-2, राइट? तो जिस तरह से कोविड की जो वैक्सीन है, खास करके जो वायरस है, उसको किस तरह से ख़त्म की जा सकती है उसके बारे में. नाउ इट मे बी एग्जैक्टली द सेम ओरिजिन वैक्सीन इन विच द केसेस इज टू इंक्रीज द मैग्नीट्यूड ऑफ प्रोटेक्शंस. जो एंटीबॉडीज की जो लेवल्स हैं उसकी जो खास करके जो काम करने की क्षमता उसको बढ़ाने की कोशिश की जाती है विद द बूस्टर शॉट्स. Now the scientists also tweak that go into the boosters if any aiming to protect the people of the new variant. But यहाँ पे the problem is that some age group is not adequately ready to actually get the booster shot. The body, the immune response cannot function properly. So there's a cautions, we have to check it thoroughly. And these shots are only given to the fully vaccinated individual. In India, we almost have reached 75 crore of single dose vaccinations, right? But the fully vaccination percentage here is again very low. I mean, that is very low still. I mean, compared to other developed countries, हमारा अभी भी काफी कम है. So एक्सपर्ट की क्या व्यू है बूस्टर शॉट्स को लेकर के. सो द इंटरनेशनल ग्रुप ऑफ साइंटिस्ट इंक्लूडिंग द वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, यूएस की एफडीए जो है, फूड एंड ड्रग्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, उसके अलावा some other agencies, they have said कि the delta variant of the vaccine is again a severe for COVID-19, and जो booster shots है that would not be appropriate at this point of time. So multiple institutions, organization, and even the expert are of the opinion that we should not continue with this. So definitely India would not think of at this point of time where the vaccination for both the dual doses is not completed yet. And the experts said that this could be a risk if booster shots are widely introduced too soon or too frequently, especially the vaccines can be a minimum जो immune mediated side effects है वो high हो सकती है, right? So we have to see everything. Our population is not fully vaccinated, and the consequences that it can have is a lot, right? So definitely all other countries whose major population are not vaccinated, and even vaccinated also, the experts are of the opinion that they cannot continue with the booster shots. Now, first, it was started in the United States, and the company of Pfizer has said that they would be preparing the booster shots. Now, North Korea test fired the long-range cruise missile. This is something which is a cause for concern for many other countries. So important for general studies paper 2, effect of policies and development by the other countries. तो नॉर्थ कोरिया ने रिसेंटली एक सक्सेसफुल लॉन्ग रेंज क्रूज मिसाइल को टेस्टिफाइड किया है दिस वीकेंड ऑल्सो. दे कंटिन्यूड फॉर अ लॉन्ग. सो द एक्ट ऑफ नॉर्थ कोरिया स्पार्क्ड अ क्रिटिसिज्म, जहाँ पे यूएस ने कंसर्न रेज किया रिगार्डिंग द प्रोसेस विच कॉल्ड फॉर denuclearization, but they see the escalations and the explorations of the nuclear energy from North Korea. So this is a cause for concern. And the latest development come after the military parade जो कि Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, वहाँ पे की गई. वहाँ के 73rd anniversary में इस तरह के जो events हैं वो organize किए गए थे. So you can see the map here that will show you कि कहाँ पे ये test fire होगी. So this is a North Korea, this is Sea of Japan, this is Japan, right? This is South Korea, just neighbor to them. This is China, and this is the capital Pyongyang, and this is the capital Beijing of China. So map work is something which is very important. You cannot ignore Russia also. So if you can ask you questions regarding that for the map work, you will need to be thorough with this. So US ने क्या remarks दिए हैं? US has said that the military of North Korea missile test जो है threat है पूरे world के लिए, and that is beyond the commitment which North Korea has signed. Basically, they have actually not signed the verbal commitment that they will not be exploring it. They will not be further enhancing that. And the activity highlights that North Korea that continue to focus in development of military programs and the threat that poses to neighborhood and international community. Right? So this is not only for the United States. Many other developed countries like Japan, Russia, and even China are concerned about these efforts. Some other concerns, जो analysts हैं, जो experts हैं, जो other stakeholders हैं, they're not clear whether North Korea has mastered the technology to build the warheads, right? चाहे वो cruise missile की बात हो, क्योंकि उसके जो leaders हैं, Kim Jong-un, right? You must be aware his name. He said that they are trying to develop more smaller bomb. That was the main goal, officially he said. And last month, the UN Atomic Watchdog said that the North Korea appeared to have restarted the nuclear reactor. So this is the cautions coming from the UN Atomic Watchdog, and they widely believe that they have produced plutonium for the nuclear weapons. So this is something which is threat to mankind globally, right? We have already seen the consequences of atomic bombing, right? Which should not be repeated anywhere. Even the plutonium is far more consequential compared to the atom bombs. Now, World Bank updated the groundswell report. This is something important for General Studies Paper 3, Conservation, Environmental Pollutions, and EIA. Right? So वर्ल्ड बैंक की जो सेकेंड रिपोर्ट है, दिस इज फॉर द सेकेंड रिपोर्ट, दैट इज ग्राउंड स्वेल रिपोर्ट. फर्स्ट रिपोर्ट वाज ऑलरेडी देयर. सो देयर वाज रिलीज रिसेंटली जहाँ पे क्लाइमेट चेंज को लेकर के बात की गई है. एंड दिस सेड कि द माइग्रेशन इन द वर्ल्ड वुड इंक्रीज एंड दिस कुड फोर्स 260 million people across the world in the region to leave their country by 2050. So this is a target and a concern that was raised by the World Bank. हॉटस्पॉट्स की अगर बात करें, द इंटरनल क्लाइमेट माइग्रेशन कुड इमर्ज एज एन अर्ली 2030 एंड कंटिन्यू टू इंटेंसिफाई इन 2050. तो वर्ल्ड बैंक के मुताबिक जो ये प्रोसेस है स्टार्ट हो जाएगी 2030 से ही और उसकी जो हाई इंटेंसिटी है वो 2050 तक पहुंचेगी, राइट. सो दिस इज समथिंग विच इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रिपोर्ट. ऑल द कंट्रीज स्टेक होल्डर नीड टू टेक दिस वेरी कॉशली. The report also find कि जो immediate और concentrated actions है that would reduce the global emissions, support green, inclusive, resilient development and can reduce the scale of climate migrations by 80%, right? So definitely this is a time when we to find the solution for climate change, and that solution should be sustainable. It should benefit each and every individuals. रिपोर्ट में और क्या बातें कही गई, जो सेकेंड रिपोर्ट है, दिस इज ग्राउंड स्वेल रिपोर्ट. फैक्चुअली इट कैन बी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर प्रॉब्लम्स. दे कैन आस्क यू कि किसने अभी रिसेंटली ग्राउंड स्वेल रिपोर्ट रिलीज की है, तो आंसर वुड बी वर्ल्ड बैंक, राइट. सो दे हैव एग्जामिन द स्लो इम्पैक्ट्स ऑफ ऑनसेट ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज. जैसे कि वाटर स्कैरसिटी की बात करें, वी आर स्टिल फेसिंग water scarcity in many places, decreasing crop productivity and rising sea level. So these are the ongoing concerns, these are the evident concern जो अभी हमने देखा हुआ है recent time में, right? So this can be acting as a proof that definitely the more consequences are going to be there in coming years. And this can lead to the million of what it described the climate migrants by 2050 under different scenario, right? कुछ तीन important सिनेरियोज होंगे जहाँ पे ये सारी चीज़ें डेवलप, राइट. सो डिग्री ऑफ वेरिएशन वुड बी फ्रॉम क्लाइमेट चेंज, डेवलपमेंट एंड अदर पार्ट्स. कुछ ऐसे रीजंस बताए गए हैं जहाँ पे सबसे ज़्यादा इसकी इम्पैक्ट दिखेगी. दैट इंक्लूड लैटिन अमेरिका, नॉर्थ अफ्रीका, सब सहारियन अफ्रीकाज, ईस्टर्न यूरोप, सेंट्रल एशिया, साउथ एशिया, ईस्ट एशिया एंड द पैसिफिक, राइट. सो दीज आर द कंट्री, दीज आर द रीजन दैट वुड बी सीवियरली इम्पैक्टेड. विल सी अदर सेक्टर्स वन बाय वन. सो द मोस्ट वनरेबल रीजन की अगर बात करें, सो द वर्स्ट अफेक्टेड सिनेरियो जो है वो सब सहारन अफ्रीका रीजन में देखी जा सकती है. दिस रीजन वुड बी हैविंग अ डेजर्टिफिकेशंस, फ्रेजाइल कोस्ट लाइन, population dependence on agriculture, and we would see most of the migrations, right. So the first category of the most vulnerable region would be sub-Saharan Africa. Now we can move ahead with North Africa, where it is prescribed and it is predicted that the largest portion of climate migrations, with 19 million people moving, equivalent to the 9% of its population. जो total populations है नॉर्थ अफ्रीका की, वहाँ के 9% population को ये affect करेगी. And there would be increased water scarcity, जो water की कमी है जो वो बहुत ज़्यादा वहाँ पे दिखेगी. Even in South Asia, Bangladesh is particularly going to be affected by flood, crop failure, accounting for almost half of the predicted climate migrants, right? So these were some of the important regions that would be facing the most vulnerable problems, right? The most sensitive areas. The other news or an editorial, COVID-19, kidney injury and need for a vaccine shot, right? So this is something important for General Studies paper 2, issues related to development and management of health. So what is under this editorial? Basically, I have segregated this into 6 subhead. The first is COVID-19 side effects, common seen complications, we'll see that, understanding the changes in kidney, changes after infection, and sepsis associated injury and conclusion. So in this particular editorial, they have mostly focused upon the changes that happens to kidney after the COVID-19, right, and other consequences of the COVID-19 side effects. So the theme of this editorial is Mayo Clinic study into the body immune response, right. हमारे जो रोग प्रतिरोधक क्षमता है बॉडी की, how they are going to be effectively working post infection of the COVID. So if you see by September 2021 COVID pandemic की अगर बात करें, it has already affected 200 million people and it has led to the 4.5 million death worldwide. India की अगर आप बात करें 3 crore 30 lakh people have been affected and 4,42,000 people were dead. This is a report, this is the ground report as of now, right? COVID-19 की साइड इफेक्ट की अगर बात करें, so this infections there is a severe side effect which happened because of the COVID-19 in adult, खास करके ऐसे लोग जिनके साथ क्रोनिक हार्ट अटैक है, किडनी है, लंग डिजीजेज है, डायबिटिक्स हैं, उनकी कंडीशंस और ज़्यादा वर्स्ट होती है, उनके जो इम्यून सिस्टम है वो और ज़्यादा वीक होता है, राइट? सो द इम्यून सिस्टम गेट वीक. So COVID-19 mainly damage some of the important organ in our body. Mostly आपने देखा होगा lungs काफ़ी ज़्यादा damage होते हैं, heart is being damaged and kidney. So these are the 3 important organ. You can have a mnemonics for this, L, H, K, right? ये 3 organ जो है ये सबसे ज़्यादा damage होते हैं. Now commonly seen complications की अगर बात करें, kidney again, kidney injury is complications of the COVID-19 more commonly seen for the हॉस्पिटलाइज्ड पेशेंट्स. किडनी की प्रॉब्लम वापस से इनहेंस होती देखी गई है एज अ कॉमन कॉम्प्लिकेशंस. वाइल रिपोर्टेड किडनी इंजरी जो है वो 7% इन 2650 पेशेंट विच वॉज एडमिटेड टू द लार्जेस्ट हॉस्पिटल. सदर्न इंडिया की रिपोर्ट है, बट एक रीसेंट रिपोर्ट जो है द लास्ट स्टडी ऑन द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स हैव सेड that the kidney injury is 46% in the hospitalized patients, right? Compared to India, Western countries में इसके consequences और high. Now, patients with COVID-19 kidney injury will have to increase durations of hospitalizations, and if the duration is increased, जो hospital की cost है वो भी बढ़ेगी. So this cost is called as out of pocket expenses, right? You have heard this time. कुछ ऐसे खर्च जो अननेसेसरली आपके हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन के एक्सपेंसेस में जा रहे हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड आउट ऑफ पॉकेट एक्सपेंसेस, राइट? अनफॉर्चुनेटली देयर आर मेनी मोर दैट दोज हु हैव बीन रिपोर्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ द किडनी इंजरी. नाउ अंडरस्टैंडिंग द चेंजेस इन किडनी, राइट? दीज आर सम ऑफ द बायोलॉजिकल चेंजेस. I'll just give you a brief idea. I'm not getting into the detail, right? So रिसर्चर ने कहा है कि जो पैथोलॉजिस्ट है उनके मुताबिक द किडनी के जो चेंजेस है दैट कॉल्ड फॉर एक्यूट ट्यूबुलर इंजरी. ट्यूबुलर इंजरी के मतलब इंजरी फॉर ट्रांसपोर्टिंग द चैनल्स ऑफ किडनी, राइट? सो ये एक हॉलमार्क है किडनी पैथोलॉजी के लिए. इसमें बताई गई है थ्रोम्बी. थ्रोम्बी इज बेसिकली बायोलॉजिकल वर्ड दैट इज यूज्ड फॉर क्लॉटिंग. आपने थ्रोम्बोसिन कई बार ऐसे प्रोसेस पढ़े होंगे बायोलॉजी में. तो थ्रोम्बी जो ब्लड क्लॉटिंग होती है वो देखी जाती है लंग्स में एंड हार्ट में, and it may have also been affected in kidney, right? So this can also happen in kidney. Inflammations की अगर बात करें जहाँ पे influx of white blood cell होती है, the kidney has also been described by the researchers, right? तो इसके consequences 3 major organ, heart, lungs और kidney पे ही है. And the kidney injury is more seen in the kidney, basically जो kidney injury है that affect the chronic injury and can also have seen in the people with diabetes and severe blood vessel diseases. सो अगर बात करें किडनी इंजरी की तो वो ज़्यादा किन लोगों पे है जिनको डायबिटिक की शिकायत है या जिनको पहले से ऑलरेडी ब्लड वेसल्स की डिजीजेज हैं. दे पीपल आर मोर प्रोन टू किडनी डैमेज एंड वंस द किडनी इज डैमेज आपको फिर डायलिसिस पर रहना पड़ता है. दैट हैज़ अगेन अ ह्यूज कॉस्ट एंड इवन पीपल हैज़ टू बी देयर इन डायलिसिस फॉर 6 to 8 hours which is very painful, right? Every individual has to go for dialysis for a week or no for every 3 days. For 6 to 8 hours, that is completely very painful process. Now changes after infections, body में क्या क्या changes होते हैं. So अगर बात करें researcher की, they said that the SARS-CoV-2 affect kidney and how the protein gene changes in the kidney after the infection. तो body में जो protein के response है, even the parts of the other glomerulus in the kidney being affected. Mayo Clinic ने recently एक प्रोसीडिंग्स बताई है. दे सेड दैट द स्ट्रॉन्ग इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स इज देयर इन द किडनी. और किडनी एक ऐसी चीज़ है जहाँ पे जो काफ़ी ज़्यादा एक्टिवली भी रिस्पॉन्स करती है COVID-19 के इन्फेक्शंस के लिए, राइट? सो द इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स वाज सीन इन ऑल पार्ट्स ऑफ द किडनी इंक्लूडिंग द ब्लड वेसल सेल्स एंड द ग्लोमेरुलस, राइट? सो दीज आर द ग्लोमेरुलस क्या है? ग्लोमेरुलस एक पार्ट है जो फिल्टरिंग यूनिट कहते हैं किडनी की. This is again something which is important for prelims. And this was mostly seen in the severe cases of the COVID-19, right? So it affects our kidney. Kidney is something which also help to overcome this pathogen because they build some innate immunity. हमारे बॉडी में दो तरह की इम्यूनिटी होती है. One is innate immunity and the other is acquired immunity. Innate वैसी इम्यूनिटी होती है जो हम we are born with, उसको innate immunity कहते हैं. एंड एक्वायर्ड इट जो हम बाद में जिसकी हम मेडिकेशंस के थ्रू, जैसे हमने अभी वैक्सीन्स ली कोविड-19 की, सो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी दैट वी हैव गॉट, राइट. सो ये दो इम्यूनिटी है जो कि आपके लिए जानना जरूरी है. नाउ सेप्सिस एसोसिएटेड इंजरी की अगर बात करें, सो कुछ एक्सपर्ट्स ने कहा है, दे हैव सजेस्टेड दैट किडनी इंजरी हैव सीवियर इन द कोविड-19 एंड बिहेव सिमिलर टू द किडनी इंजरी. Sepsis is again a process, a kind of inflammation you can say, जिसकी काफ़ी ज़्यादा एक्सट्रीम रिस्पॉन्स होती है इन्फेक्शंस में. एंड दीज फाइंडिंग परहैप्स emphasize the need to manage in the COVID-19 patients, right? जिस तरह से दूसरे अलग पेशेंट्स में है, यहाँ पे भी जो sepsis associated injury है, that is also high. Now some conclusion, the Mayo Clinic has recently said that it is important to emphasize the few important facts. वो few important facts क्या है? That first, there we need to research and capitalize the patient specimens. हमें उसे collect करने की ज़रूरत है. We need to study that. We need to store the data and utilize that data. This is first. Second is that it will allow to study the associated problem and the injury to the populations. जो इंजरी हुई है, टिश्यू इंजरी, किडनी के टिश्यूज़ में और भी किसी टिश्यूज़ में, उसको पढ़ना, उसके डेटा को रिकॉर्ड करना would be important for the mass populations. And third, by using the state of the art technology tool, we can able to analyze the body immune response, right? जो वायरस के क्या consequences हुए हैं, how does it impacted our kidney, liver and heart, that need to have to be studied thoroughly, and these data would help to prevent the problem that can exist to many other patients. So this is how the conclusion can be there, right? Now coming to the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For the first question, the correct option is B. For the second questions, the correct option is C. So you can check your answer, whatever you have marked, do check it out. Today's MCQ, PM Atmanirbhar Swasth Bharat scheme. It aims to provide healthcare insurance to BPL category. It was recently announced in the Union Budget 2021-2022. So if you know the correct answer, do let me know in the comment section down below. Second, National Hydrogen Energy Missions के बारे में आपको बताना है. The mission aim to capitalize hydrogen for cleaner alternative fuels. It will focus on generation of hydrogen from the green power resources. So which among the following is the correct answer? You have to let me know, right? So do participate, write your answer in the comment sections. So this was all about the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQs. If you have any other concern, do let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Wish you all the best. Thank you so much for listening.